So I think as everyone in this room knows, MIGS is a large and rapidly growing market opportunity. It's about $164 million this year, thanks in large part to the great effort by Glaukos in building this category to date. And as we look out into 2022, the market will be, according to MarketScope, over $520 million with the emergence of some new players, including Allergan, Alcon, and ourselves. But it's important to note most experts and Wall Street analysts believe that the majority of this market will continue to be conventional outflow or Schlemm's canal procedures because of the safety profile, because the majority of these procedures will continue to be done by cataract surgeons. So at Ivantis, we've raised roughly $132 million to date. We're well-funded out past our eventual commercial launch into 2019. We treated over 3,500 patients across the globe, and we announced at the end of October that we submitted the final module for our PMA. So our goal is to bring a more potent solution to Schlemm's canal with our Hydrus next generation device, and we're going to do this with what we call our tri-modal mechanism of action. So first we have a bypass, which is a large open inlet to allow fluid into the body of the device. Second, the device dilates and then provides a permanent scaffold to increase the flow opportunity long-term through the Schlemm's canal. And finally, it's the only device that spans 90 degrees, the only device allowing consistent access to multiple collector channels over time. This is our surgical video. You see here the stent that you just saw being delivered into Schlemm's canal. You see that it's being delivered smoothly in. What the surgeons like about our procedure is the confidence. You consistently hear the word confident. I know what I've done. I can see the device in the canal. And as you see here, the surgeon's looking distally, and you're actually going to see the stent in the canal fully dilating the entire nasal quadrant of the canal. And because we access such a large section of the outflow system, there's no need for targeting or aiming for collector channels. So not surprisingly, in a space that's attracted as many great players as MIGS has attracted, there's a lot of peer-reviewed activity. And so there's as many as 80 peer-reviewed publications to date, and we have a few of those. But we're very proud because our primary focus has been on what we call ANSI standards clinical trials, which is the highest level of evidence as defined by the FDA. And there have only been a handful of those trials. And so by the end of the first quarter, Ivantis will have been responsible for 3 of the first 4 published ANSI standards MIGS clinical trials, and I'll talk about one of those right now. So our HORIZON pivotal trial is the largest MIGS pivotal trial that's ever been conducted. You see here on the slide the pivotal trials of some of the other players in the space. Our trial was not only the largest trial, but also the only trial to include global population. So 40% of our trial was international, which we're very proud of. Obviously, glaucoma is a global disease. So how did we do? Well, I'm not going to share primary and secondary endpoints today. Those will be shared later in the AAO conference. But what I want to show you is how we do in the most common glaucoma patient in the United States. So according to MarketScope, half the patients in the U.S. are on one medication. And if you look at the HORIZON trial at baseline, half the patients were also on one medication. So how did we do? Well, if you received the control arm, which was cataract surgery alone, 47% of the patients were medication-free at 2 years. But if you received the Hydrus with cataract surgery, 87% of the patients were able to live a medication-free lifestyle by 2 years. This is the most resounding result in any MIGS pivotal trial to date, and we're excited to have the remainder of these results shared later in this meeting. So how does the device do in the real world? Well, since the last OIS, a publication came out in the Journal of Glaucoma by Dr. David Broadway from Norfolk and Norwich University in the United Kingdom. This was his first 25 cases during the learning curve experience. Patients had an average pressure of 18 on 2 medications. They were followed for an average of 17 months, and in this study, pressure dropped from 18 to roughly 15, but 91% of the patients were medication-free at 17 months. And I want to emphasize, the study was generated 100% by Dr. Broadway and his site. Ivantis had no involvement, nor did we review the final manuscript prior to review. Totally independent. Excited to see how this works in your first experience. So as we look forward, what we believe is sort of the next frontier in MIGS is standalone glaucoma when you do it without combination cataract surgery. So earlier this year, we announced our Summit trial, which was the first MIGS, allowing us to become the first MIGS technology to have open IDEs on both ends of the disease spectrum. So we're looking at the device now in refractory glaucoma, and that's enrolling now. And then another trial that we're very proud of is the COMPARE trial, which is a trial our scientific advisors urged us to run, looking at Hydrus compared to 2 Glaukos iStents in highly controlled conditions with some of the most experienced MIGS experts across the world, so as to eliminate any learning curve. Those results will read out in 2018. So as we look forward, as we spend the next 12 months, we're going to be very busy, and we're excited about this. We'll be presenting the remainder of our pivotal trial data at this conference. We'll be announcing our VP of Sales early in the first quarter. Toward the end of the first quarter, we'll be announcing results on the 1,500th eye at 1 year in our Spectrum Real-World Registry, which is the largest MIGS registry that's ever been run. We'll be conducting a limited international launch. Moving into Q2, we'll be sharing our comparative results. We hope to complete enrollment in our standalone refractory trial toward the end of the second quarter. And then around mid-year, we're excited to launch this product in the United States. And then as we look forward, we'll be initiating some new projects, such as looking at the device in angle closure glaucoma, which is highly prevalent in Asia. So we'll be looking at new markets as well. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you listening.